Hi everyone, my name is Clemens, I'm with Guangzhou Sourcing, and today I want to speak about Chinese New Year. We have every year trouble during Chinese New Year, so have many businesses who are sourcing in China. Trouble because China is shutting down, so there is always a little bit of an organizational hurdle to just make sure that you have like all the products that you have ordered shipped out before the Chinese New Year holiday starts. And then also like afterwards, there's always like a little bit of a slowdown when factories are getting back to work. So I want to take a minute and explain you a little bit more about Chinese New Year and what to consider. So first of all, Chinese New Year, when is it? It's not every year at the same date. It's actually based on the lunar calendar. So it's actually changing every year. So be sure to inform yourself when exactly Chinese New Year is. Then Chinese New Year as a holiday is actually officially not that long, but factories will close for a longer time. This has to do with many workers coming actually from far away. So the Chinese New Year holiday is the time when these workers are going back to their hometown, visiting their families and staying there for a bit longer. So many factories will actually close for an entire month, so 4 weeks. But there is also no general rules. So I have seen factories that are actually closed for a short time, and then there's even factories that are closed for even longer than 4 weeks. So it really depends on the factory, it depends a little bit on their size, it depends a little bit on their industry. So there's, I think, many factors to it. So be sure to inform yourself and check with your suppliers, with your factories, how long are they actually closed. But not everybody is off work for such a long time. So this is mainly the workers in the factories that are shut down for a longer time. But let's say white collar office workers, they are typically just off for a little bit longer than a week. So it's not like the entire China is shut down for an entire month during Chinese New Year. It's more like the factories stop producing for a month and everybody is on holiday for a little bit longer than a week. But it sometimes can feel like everything is really slowing down just because many people are taking their holidays, their annual leave just before or after Chinese New Year. So it's definitely a holiday season. I always like to compare Chinese New Year in China or in Asia a little bit to Christmas in Western countries. It's actually quite similar from a cultural point of view. Families and friends are coming together, having lunch and dinner together, celebrating. Instead of gifts, kids are getting hongbaos, so red pockets. These are basically filled with a couple of yuan, so money. So that's mainly the difference, but it's actually quite close to what we consider the holiday seasons for Christmas and New Year. Okay, another topic we should speak about is shipping, just before Chinese New Year and after. So normally shipping is quite standard, but before Chinese New Year, shipping can get a little bit difficult. It's not like vessels stop to depart, but the main difficulty is really that everybody is trying to get their goods out just before the holiday. So there's always more bookings, which leads to often higher prices, higher container prices. So if you are not that urgent, it actually sometimes makes sense to just ship after Chinese New Year because shipping prices will be a bit lower. And then another difficulty is as closer as you're getting to the actual holidays, the less workers are actually around to get the stuff done. So to do the loading, to do the consolidation, to do the trucking. So the week before Chinese New Year, we very often have trouble finding trucking. So finding workers who are actually like driving the truck that's carrying the container to the factory to load and back to the port. So this is always a little bit troublesome. I would say after Chinese New Year, things are actually quite quickly back to normal. So that's a lot better than before Chinese New Year. But before Chinese New Year, I would say roughly maybe 2 to 3 weeks before Chinese New Year, shipping can get a little bit more difficult. 3 weeks, maybe not as much, but 2 weeks before Chinese New Year, you will definitely encounter situations where it's not as fast anymore, where you need to start looking longer for getting all the services done, and prices will also certainly increase. Okay, and the last part I want to speak in this video about is orders just before Chinese New Year. If you have ordered in China before, you will know that if you place an order just before Chinese New Year, the factories will kind of take the order, but they will tell you that they won't complete it before Chinese New Year. So my rule of thumb normally is that you need 5 weeks before Chinese New Year to get an order still in. If you are coming later than that, normally they will tell you that they will not process your order and not be able to ship it out before the holiday. But this is also just a rule of thumb. It really depends on the factory. So there are factories that are quickly producing. They can certainly take longer orders. There's factories who have a way longer production lead time. So they might already inform you, depending on when Chinese New Year is, somewhere in beginning of December, that they're not taking any new orders. So be sure to kind of like be prepared. I am always starting to look at Chinese New Year, the holiday season and production lead times in the beginning of December. That's a very important time of the year for us as a team to really consider, okay, when is everybody going on vacation? When are they stopping production? When do we need to lock in the last orders that can be completed before the holiday and then also being shipped out? Also, you want to make sure that you don't finish production just right before the holiday, because then again, going back to shipping, it's really hard to get this loaded and shipped, right? So make sure to place orders early enough so that you have enough buffer time to really get everything loaded and consolidated and then going through customs in time without any rush. All right, so this was my overview about Chinese New Year for today. I hope you liked it. I hope you understand a little bit better now what Chinese New Year means, also the implications for somebody purchasing, sourcing or buying in China. A few key takeaways for you. So number one, it's not at the same time every year. So check out when exactly is Chinese New Year. Speak to your factories and suppliers when they stop production, when they stop delivering, when are they on holiday. 3, be prepared for shipping. So rather start planning this earlier and make sure that your forwarders are informed that you have a container that needs to be loaded. And I think if you consider these 3 things, then you're pretty good, pretty organized for the next Chinese New Year. Okay. Happy New Year and bye-bye.